think we already have a few folks coming in here. Hello, folks. How's it going? I am going to actually stop sharing for just a second. All right, there's not. Give folks a few minutes here to come in. Welcome. Drop in the comments if it's hot or not so hot where you're at today. It's been hotter in London, but it's still kind of humid here today. Hot in Dallas. Oh, I can imagine. I know that there's the heat dome happening this week, just in time for the 4th of July. Hi, Mitchell. A few more people. Okay, it's 5 o'clock now, so hopefully we should see a few more people trickle in here. What's everyone's favorite food to make when it's super hot? I think for me, I do a Greek salad. So that's actually what we're gonna do tonight. When it gets super hot out, I just generally just feel like I just can't eat anything else except for a salad. But yeah, generally Greek salad. Watermelon's pretty good too. What about you, Shaylin?
Yeah, I agree. I cannot eat heavy food like pastas and pizzas. I need like salads and fruit. I would say melon's a good one. I think
Melon is definitely good.
watermelon and just normal melon. Maybe
Cool.
a few
See,
others in.
yeah. Hello, everybody. Margarita definitely counts, Matt. That is beverage of choice. Basically, if it has lime and salt and ice, I'm done. That's great.
It's pretty hot here as well.
Yeah, I was sad to see that this was the cool day. It's just gonna get hotter from here again. Oh, Europe is just not made for this.
Yeah,
We we
yeah
do what we can.
we don't have AC here.
Yeah, not as much.
Not a thing, I would say.
Okay, I'm going to give it one more minute and then we're going to kick off here, folks, because we've got a lot to get through. And again, if you have to drop off at any point, totally fine. We'll send out recording afterwards to share what we went through today. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of things to go through. All right. Ready the windows.
Hey Derek, how's it going? A few more have joined.
Oh, very good. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Just fix my screen here. Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to all the things. We're going to be talking about what's new in ProdPad and also be taking your questions at the end. Our agenda for today is jam-packed, but it should give us time for questions throughout. So I hope everybody's cozy. We're going to be talking about new releases, including a sneak peek of our MCP and some other stuff that's in the works. And then, yeah, like I said, we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. All right, so without further ado, we're going to talk about new releases. But before I do, if you're new to ProdPad and you don't know what ProdPad is the original product management platform. We help you tie your ideas, outcomes for your business and for your customer through our roadmaps and ideas and feedback that all come together in our tool. You can use ProdPad to communicate your vision and strategy, to build out roadmaps and share them to and tailor them to particular audiences, gather customer feedback, prioritize your ideas and experiments, integrate with all your tools. And we offer a sandbox as well where you can try this all out. Okay, spiel done. Let's talk about what is coming up. So I'm going to stop my share for a second and I'm going to open up ProdPad. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is linear. So we've heard from folks, it's been evolving over time. A lot of folks are moving away from Jira and maybe are wanting to downsize from something like Azure DevOps into linear to work in a more agile way. So we've added that as a native integration into ProdPad. So if you'd like to set that up, you'll now see that as a option within your integrations. I've actually already set one up for us, so you can see that here. So what that will look like, so I'll go into it here, is you'll connect to your team. You'll have the option to select a product or project, I should say, and then you can set what syncs to linear. So what that gives you the ability to do is, so if you want to be able to connect a certain kind of resource from ProdPad into your destination at linear. So you can set initiatives to milestones, ideas to issues, and user stories to sub-issues. Now we are planning on extending these option types in the future, but just for this initial version, we're keeping it to the main use case, which is particularly around ideas going to issues and user stories going to sub-issues. So once you've enabled that, you're able to map your fields. So you can basically take parts of your idea and map that to the relevant items in linear. Same thing for user stories. You can select fields here and select how those things map together. And then your idea workflow as well. You can basically, you have your workflow stages that happen in ProdPad that kind of show an idea as it moves through your discovery or planning cycle to the point where you're ready to send it into development. And so you can map these statuses so that you will be able to see as things progress in linear, it'll be reflected back in ProdPad. So that is all set up here. So let me show you an idea. I'm going to go to our workflow. I'm going to zoom on over here to in progress. And you can see here is an idea that has been pushed over to linear. I actually have it on over on this tab here in linear. And you can see, open that bad boy up. So this appears in that'll appear as a new option when you push. And you'll see it here as an integration type. And then on the linear side, you can see where we've mapped functional spec, labels, everything that we've mapped now appears in linear. So syncs everything over, keeps you in the loop, keeps your team all connected if you are using linear. So again, if you are a team that is currently using linear or would like to, let us know. Happy to kind of get you set up with it, but also let us know what you think of it. Okay, next thing. Let's talk about feedback. And specifically, let's talk about the ability to have that feedback show auto tagging. So I set this up earlier. So you'll see in your account settings that there's a new setting under AI that allows you to set up AI feedback tagging. And you also have the ability there to set the limit of tags that it applies and also exclude specific tags if you want to. Now let me go back to the tab. So what's happening here is that our AI is looking at your feedback on an hourly basis. It's using the tabs that you already have, and then it is applying tags to it. So hopefully that's going to save you all a whole bunch of time in terms of triage. And yeah, just make that ability to find signals within your feedback a lot easier. Okay, I'm going to pause here for just a second. Thank you for bearing with me. We've got lots of windows here. Cool. Now, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is MCP. Now, MCP is, since I've been at ProdPad, probably the most requested feature that I have heard about. And so what this will allow folks to do is basically, you can think of MCP as a layer, an API layer for your AI clients to be able to more easily connect to APIs and all the services that you use. It allows for things to be more performant and less error prone, just lays things out for your AI to find and to be able to do processes on your behalf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually open up Cloud Code and I'm going to show you two different scenarios, one around triaging feedback and another one around looking at a roadmap and kind of quizzing a roadmap through our MCP. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. Okay, cool. So pardon the black screen, but this is the world that we're living in today. So here's the scenario. You're connected to the ProdPad MCP, and you are in the middle of things with your agent, and you just want to be able to understand what's happening with feedback as you're having this conversation with Claude. So what I've done is I've asked it, what's in our feedback inbox right now? Group it for me into themes. And so it does that, it goes away and it comes back and it looks using the MCP and it finds those themes and it read through them and grouped them into themes below. Your results may vary depending on your agent and how you've instructed it. This is very, I would say, like vanilla in terms of what I've set up here with Claude, just so you can see what a basic kind of response would be and what it would find. So it was able to see in our test account very easily, like some top-level themes and then emerging themes for us, which is great. And that's cool, but I'm curious about, okay, so for themes that don't have ideas attached, are there ideas in the roadmap about these? Okay, it's going to do a search, goes away, comes back. Yes, for most of them, he says, or they say. Don't want to gender AI. But okay, so it comes back and it says, okay, there's still a couple of gaps. And so one was for two-factor auth. So I told it, okay, go ahead and create a new idea for two-factor auth and link it to that feedback. So it looked at the feedback and said, okay, it can tell the product that's associated with it through the MCP. And so it'll create the idea and then link it to that feedback. So it went through the process of doing that. It created and linked the feedback as well. And so it gave you a summary here and it did that. And so I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Sorry for all the window hopping, guys, but it's a lot of back and forth. Okay. If I come over to my ideas, you will see under unsorted here. This is that idea that was created by our MCP. So you can see it's summarized from the feedback. It's created, it's filled out the business value. It has selected the right product. It's added tags. And you can see here that it's also selected the source because of the linked feedback. I know that's a huge amount, but that's because of the feedback that's associated and also shows the linked revenue as well. But you can see that feedback that it found, it's correctly linked to that. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm going to stop that window for a second, come back. Now let's look at it from maybe a product leader's perspective. And they may not be in ProdPad every day, but they want to understand how things are going on maybe across one of their teams in particular. They have some concerns about like, how is this product team doing? Where are they at with their initiatives, right? So let me go back to Warp. So Warp is what my particular client that I use to work with Claude. It's pretty handy in case you're looking for a different harness. Okay, so let me zoom back up to the top here. So like I said, this is maybe from more of the point of views that you want to understand what's happening with a particular roadmap. So I've asked it, what are we working on right now for Health Hive? Give me the now column with a one status update each. It comes back really quickly, tells us what's happening in the now column, and then what's happening with it, and then what the target outcome is for it. It does note that there's not really a status per se, and that is because we use now next later, and now is the status. Now I'm going to zoom out here. So I asked it for one particular initiative, what customer feedback and ideas are linked to it, and what's the revenue associated with it, right? Pretty common question. So it goes away, does its thing, and it comes back to us and says that there's all this revenue, but it's only coming from one particular feedback, one particular customer. And so it seems fishy, right? Obviously, this is a test account that we have that has pretty good fake data in it, but it's still fake. So it comes back and it's able to tell us the ideas and what the status of those ideas that are linked to that initiative within Claude. And it's also able to tell us maybe some things to flag, right? And so it did hit one error. wouldn't be AI if we didn't hear something, but it just kept going through it, which is great. This was, I'm told it basically chose to look at the one particular product. And this is the honest picture of like how the things across the entire roadmap for that product link to our objective of increasing revenue and market reach, right? And so it looked and it correctly identified that only one of the initiatives linked to this objective and like saw that there was a couple of gaps and it's not really, there's one initiative that probably should be linked to it, but it's not. And so I said, okay, that's great. Let's write that up in a summary, right? So let me just stop that share for a second. And again, like I said, this is a pretty vanilla setup, but I just wanted to give you guys a general idea of the types of things you can do. Share. And then yeah. Okay. So it took that and in classic Claude style, it's generated a little doc for us based on that conversation and suggestions for realignment and next steps. And so you can see there, it's super powerful just in terms of what you're able to do. Today, the MCP will let you do, we have two create events and search, and I think 11 tools in total. We are going to be, it's in early access right now. So if you're interested, please give us a shout at either help or hello at ProdPad, and we'd be happy to set you up if you're a ProdPad customer. And yeah, so as in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be continuing to add on to it, but please do let us know any feedback on it. But I think it is super powerful. I am so psyched about it. Okay, I'm going to pause there for a second. How are we looking in the chat there? A little quiet? Are we? Any questions? Okay, I'm going to keep going. All right, so next on the list, come back to next thing I want to talk about is something that has been out for a little bit. It's a little bit of a sleeper hit, but I did mention it earlier when we were talking about this really high number for total revenue. So total revenue, we've had kind of account value before, but we didn't really display it or roll it up in this way before. So how does that work? So if you go actually to your feedback tab and you go over to your contacts or companies, if you go to companies, lost my tab, turn it back on. Okay, you'll see this annual revenue that appears here. You can actually change this value and change the annual revenue value, and that will appear. See it right here. It's this one right here. This annual revenue field. So that will bubble up when you look on the ideas that are associated with this company called City Planning. If you go into that idea, you'll see now that this is a roll up of all of the different companies that are associated with this idea. It's not meant, obviously, as like a one-to-one in terms of this feature is worth X amount, but it's just the associated customer revenue that you have, right? So that also means at the roadmap level, I come in here, I'm able to turn total revenue on and then see that amount actually at the initiative level as well. So this really helps just in terms of those planning conversations at the idea and maybe at the roadmap level when you're doing planning. It's another data point to help you understand not only the amount of feedback, but also the monetary value of that feedback sometimes. Okay, stop there for a second. Now, I think the next thing I want to go through, going through my tabs here. Okay, so this one, let me stop here for a second, is getting into the things that are coming up. Okay, I want to come back to this Q&A question here from Derek. So Derek, right now, as of right now, the MCP, there's no additional cost. It is included in your ProdPad plan. We are going to, right now, I think we are not planning on making this enterprise only or gated to higher plans. Our take is that it's your data and it's very valuable for you in order to get data in and out. We are going to see how our customers use the feature, but at this time, it's totally going to be a part of everybody's plans. Cool. Thank you. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is let's talk about back here. Sneak peeks. Okay. All right. these are kind of things that are still in progress right now. They may be in development or they might be under design, but they will be coming to ProdPad in the near future. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the concept of closing the loop. So I come from the last company that I spent a lot of time at was Help Scout, which is a support tool like Intercom or Zendesk. And it was there that I really started to understand the value of making sure that everybody that came into contact with customers closed that loop. So every customer that did you the favor of giving you feedback, of reaching out or even writing in with support feedback, that on the product team were able to reach out and get their opinion about something or to let them know that what they asked for or what they requested is on the way, right? And it's pretty gratifying actually to be able to do that loop closing. I find it to be a serotonin kind of thing. Yeah. I'm happy to say that we're going to be adding functionality to let folks follow up with customers within ProdPad. So let me give you a little sneak peek here. Open that up. Again, thank you for bearing with me with all the windows. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are looking at an idea. This is an idea around a security concerns feedback portal. Sounds very important, right? Okay, and you can see that we have this, again, this is on our staging server, so it's got some pretty funny feedback in here, right? But imagine that we want to let these customers know that it's in progress. So now if you select a couple of the items of feedback, you'll see a new option pop up here, and that's to email contacts. So if you click on that, it opens a side panel and you can see the folks that are in there. You can modify this list if you want. I'm just going to actually send it to myself here. Update to contacts. Yeah, works. Okay, I'm going to say good news. The magical portal that you gave us feedback about is in progress, right? Okay. And yeah, there's a little bit of staging data here, but we'll send this out and this will appear through your company, but it's sent via our email servers. And you also have the ability to test here if you want to just test and make sure that it looks okay. I highly recommend that. I do that everything because I get anxiety about emails, right? So I'm going to send that email and ready to send. Okay, boom. And it's done. Okay, so the email's sent off and your customers are kept in the loop. So again, this is currently being tested, but you can look for this coming to your accounts very soon. Okay, last thing I want to show you is something that I have been hearing and talking with customers about for a few months now, which is as teams are growing and you might have very similar or the same initiatives across different products. And there's a need to be able to have maybe there's like a web team that's going to do one portion of initiative, and then there's a mobile team that's going to do another part, right? Simple example, two different teams, but same initiative. And so currently, how our customers handle it is they create two different initiatives. But what we've heard is it would be super helpful to be able to mirror or share those initiatives across different products and potentially even share it across different columns as well. So again, this is in design right now, and we're talking with some kind of customers about it at the moment, but I'd love you to see what you think of it as well. I'm gonna open that back up. Okay. Okay, this is an example of we're looking at an initiative, and we would now have the ability basically to select multiple products and also set the column in which that appears, right? So pretty straightforward. We do have this ability for ideas today, where you can have an idea that is associated with multiple products. We're just extending that to initiatives. And then what that looks like potentially at the roadmap level. Again, you would never have a roadmap card that has all of these statuses at the same time. It looks very rainbow-esque at the moment, but what you would have is the ability to easily see what products this initiative is sitting on and the status that it's at currently. Yeah, and so as you can tell, we're also planning a lot of lifts to our roadmaps. There are more stuff coming with grouping and showing by tag or showing by theme as well. So more to come there, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek because I'm definitely again, super excited to give ProdPad a little bit of a lift, right? Okay, so we are coming up to the half hour. So any questions from people in terms of what we've seen today? Can I help to answer any questions or anything else you wanted me to go back over and talk about? Yeah. One question is whether we would make these roadmap updates available to our published roadmaps. And yes, we will, like we've done with other recent updates, we will be pushing those out to published roadmaps as well. And yeah, I think all we're hoping to move those things across. Now, question for you guys while I have you. What would, if first of all, who here uses AI on a daily basis? And if you had this kind of MCP, what would you use it for? Everybody's super quiet today. You can think about it. That's fine. Okay. So in terms of other, oop, just got one. Okay, organizing feedback from the business. Okay, that is a very good one. And honestly, I would say that's probably our top use case, which I think is interesting because I think I've been with ProdPad now for about 2 years, but a lot of the other tools, everybody started from this place of roadmaps and used to be getting feedback from customers was so hard. And I know it still can be hard, especially if you're like in a more enterprise or sales-led org. It might be pulling teeth to get to actually to be able to talk to a customer. But I have seen that change so much just with all the call recorders, all the integrations, and what I see a lot from like all of our customers is a lot of these teams are drowning in feedback. And I'm glad that we have the tools. So it's one of the primary things that I'm focusing on is that at the product manager level, really making it easy to be able to process that feedback and get it linked to items or process it in a way that makes sense for your team. Cool. And Derek, yeah, so okay, so use AI to ask questions, refine thoughts, do more in-depth analysis. Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think one thing that I'm thinking about for our MCP as well is that one of the issues as a product leader is that you might be over like a team of 30 PMs or something like that. And if every PM has their own Claude or their own like Copilot and they're setting up things in their own way, you could end up with a lot of silos of like customer feedback, of just ways of working. And suddenly, like, you can't really see into everybody's Claude instance to understand how everybody's working. But by connecting to ProdPad as like your central point of knowledge and way of working, it keeps everybody in the loop. And it's a lot easier than for your other product leaders or other stakeholders then to understand what's happening without having to like log into ProdPad even, right? Although as I have to say that we reviewers are always free and we do have integrations with Slack and Teams too. But if you're working within AI already, it just makes it easy. Okay. Any other questions we want to talk about? So how's everybody feeling, like in terms of product teams, how we're working? I know Jana has done a couple of deep dives about, we had some fun headlines a couple of weeks ago talking about how everybody's going to lose their job next year in product, but I think it's a little jump in the gun, just a little bit. I think the opportunity that we have, like I've been in the business long enough, is that I feel like we've come full circle. When I first started out in California in the date myself like 2008 or so, there weren't a lot of product people on the ground, right? It was few and far between. And a lot of the folks that were on those kind of like early teams that I was a part of, everybody was in the code base. Everybody was expected to contribute, even if you were on the design side. You were expected to be a builder and kind of be part of that process. And what I saw over time was like these layers of like definitely between design and development, like React. I think I'm not on the development side, so I won't speak to the positives of it, but I feel like React and specifically added a big kind of layer in between designers being able to work directly in code. I think that was the changing point. But what happened is you just had all these abstraction layers, and then all of a sudden, designers were just doing mockups and not working in CSS or JS as much anymore. And then on the product side, it became like you'd get a lot of side eyes, I think, in previous gigs that I was at if you asked as a product person to be in the code base. So I think it's come around in terms of like, I think it's healthy for not everybody being an expert. We know that the engineers are the expert on their particular area, designers the same, product the same, but like knowing, being like working, all working together in on problems together, whether that's through AI or just actually just using other tools, it helps you understand what's feasible. And when you understand what's feasible, then you can make better bets and better decisions about what decide to take on. And you're able to get it out and test with your customers in a much more in a fluid fashion. All about that continuous discovery. Any other questions or topics people want to chat about? Well, I've gotcha. Anybody want to share their product gripe that they had this week? I've got one, but I'm going to wait and see if anybody else has one. This doesn't have to be with your own product. This could be like another product that you used. Nope. Oh, that's a good question. Mitchell, thank you. Okay, so what has surprised you using Claude with the ProdPad MCP? Honestly, because I think just having another pair of eyes, because I am in ProdPad and I'm building ProdPad at the same time. So I feel I see all the feedback come in and everything else. I feel like I have eyes over everything. However, I feel like in using Claude, it shows you things that maybe you overlooked or maybe you had a bias against and you didn't give it the full attention that maybe you should have. So for me, I think it is just showing things more easily, also the speed of it and how good of a job it does just generating, basically giving us a starting point for ideas. My take is, yeah, definitely read those drafts. It'll generate a draft and you look at it and work on that draft. I would say don't set it to autopilot in terms of creating specs and things because it will most likely be specs that no one will read. So I see it as a co-author and also another set of eyes. But honestly, it's just the speed of it. It's just like you can go in and just do one quick 5 minute session and you've got all your feedback sorted for the month, right? That's great. Okay, gripe. Yeah, the AI gener oh, Matt, don't get me started on that one. Yeah, the kind of the obvious AI generated prototypes, or not even prototypes, but just actual products, right? It is like we see it everywhere. I know there's a gentleman named John Maeda who is a longtime design leader, product leader, and he shared, oh gosh, I'll have to try to remember it. He shared this, it's basically a plugin for your Claude. And I might be a little too niche here, but if you remember, there's this concept in CSS called a reset. And this is a file that people would have in their CSS to basically put things back to 0, 0, basically, instead of having to override the kind of things that the browser would add on to the stuff that you'd put on your web app, right? So everybody used to have a reset, and they still do. So what this plugin will do is basically reset Claude or whatever AI you have to not generate in that way. And it gives it some better defaults in terms of design standards and like how it works. And arguably, they are continuing to refine Claude design. I'm more of a fan of hooking like a Figma's like MCP directly up into Claude to allow you to have full control over like making sure that it's using your design system and it's using what you already have, right? And it's not going to, because left to its own devices, it is going to make the same. It's unfortunately, we had a lot of great open source libraries, like Tailwind was one in particular. And basically, that's pretty much what all the AI designs look like right now. It's all Tailwind, and you can tell immediately once you've seen one, you've seen them all. So, but yeah, I think there's a way forward. We just have to keep, I think we need to be more critical as product leaders in terms of our what is okay for testing versus what is true to like our brand and what makes us unique because that's what's going to matter going forward, I think, is just what is unique with your company compared to the next like AI native startup, right? Let me check the questions. So isn't that? While we're on the topic of AI, I will actually also say is that at ProdPad, we've been ahead of the game in terms of a lot of our generative stuff. We've had that in the product for several years now in terms of being able to generate ideas and objectives and that kind of thing, OKRs. And one thing that I'm thinking about is what other surfaces we can add that to in the product. But I think we're going to move away from having AI buttons everywhere and every interface we have. It's going to move more to it's just in the toolbar. It's available. It's there. It's like when you like select some text, it's like available to you. I think most users are going to have an expectation now that that's available to them because if they are working in a tool like Claude or Copilot, folks are going to be, they're going to expect more out of your app, right? They're going to expect more out of your product because it has to give them something that they're not already getting out of working directly within the AI. Okay. I'm going to give one last call for questions or comments. And thank you, everybody, for joining on a toasty Thursday. Do you want to say here? I'm going to share here. Peanut book. So next week, we've got another webinar. Jana's going to be talking to Shardul Mehta, and he's going to be talking to us about why roadmaps don't get the funding that they should get from the executive team. So that's on Tuesday. So I hope you will pop back in for that. And again, if folks are interested in MCP and you aren't already on the early access, please just drop us a line. You can get me at Julie@ProdPad, or you can write into hello or help at ProdPad, and we can get you set up with MCP. And yeah, Shardle is great. Yeah, no, he's great. Oh, really? That's
Oh,
cool.
nice.
That's cool. So yeah, hope to see you folks. Thank you for dropping in. Really excited to share the initial news about Linear and MCP and all the stuff. I think we're going to learn a lot, and I think the product is going to be, we're going to be in a wholly, totally different way of doing product by the time we talk about this next year. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you guys.